From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 4 o'clock news.
Well, trying to pay off a credit card, as many of you know, it feels like mission impossible sometimes. And maybe it is, depending on your situation. And if this is you, then you're not alone, because many Floridians are struggling with credit card debt. In fact, Florida is one of the top states where people carry the highest amount of credit card debt. So, but don't feel completely lost here. We've got some help for you. We're going to talk about what you can do to get out of debt. We have attorney Jim Giardina with Consumer Rights Law Group back with us this week. And as we always try to do, check in with you on Monday on a different topic. So credit cards, you say you could talk about this for hours because there's so much to go into, but let's try to hone in on a couple of things. If you can't pay off your debt, what's the first thing you should do?
All right, so the first thing you should do is stop incurring more debt. If you can't pay off your debt, it's time to stop using your credit card. Shut off your credit card. Maybe even call your credit card companies, ask for a better rate, ask them to shut it off so that you can stop incurring so much interest every month, late payments, over limit payments, that kind of stuff. That's, I think, the first thing that you should do if you can't pay your credit cards.
Because that becomes fraud if you just keep piling up debt.
Oh, sure.
That you can't pay for.
You know, if you go out, if most people get their loan and get their credit cards and then come into a situation where they can't pay them.
Right.
But of course, if you go out intentionally racking up debt that you know you can't pay back, well, you know, that could be a fraudulent situation. But the people that I see, typically 99% of my clients are people who, you know, they say bad things happen to good people. And sometimes, you know, you get in over your head or you just, things change. You lose a job, marriages change. There's lots of reasons people can't pay their debt.
What can the credit card company do to you if you can't pay it off?
Okay, so let's start with the easiest thing that they could do is they can raise your interest rate, right? If your payment is a day late, they'll raise your interest rate up a little bit. Or if it's a couple days late, you know, if it's a few weeks late, they could even shut off your card completely, which in some cases is a blessing rather than a curse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, they can also ding your credit. But remember, Chris, you've got to be 30 days late for them to ding your credit. So if you're a day or two or even a week or two late, they can't put a bad mark on your credit.
They may be calling you every other day, but they can't ding your credit until it's past that 30-day mark.
Oh, sure. And that's the next thing that they can do. They can call you. And they can call you incessantly until you tell them not to, until your lawyer sends them a letter that says, hey, contact me, contact my lawyer, don't contact my client anymore. After that, it's against the law for them to keep calling you.
How can people, if they could get to this step, how can they legally eliminate credit card debt?
Well, you know, the way to legally eliminate it, I suppose, the easiest way is to pay it off. Now, the question is, if you can't pay it off, you may wish to enter into a settlement with your credit card companies, right? And if you owe them, let's say, $10,000 on a card, and, you know, you explain to them your financial situation, if they see you don't have the ability to pay, then, you know, they may make a deal with you. But the real fun happens when you get to court, because when you go to court, if for some reason a debt collector sues you on a credit card, and they do, a debt collector or a bank will sue you if you don't pay your credit card long enough. When you get to court, that's when the burden is on the bank or the bill collector to prove that you owe the money. If they can't prove that you owe the money, then you win and you legally don't owe it anymore.
If you lose, what can happen to you? Can you go to jail?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, there's no debtor's prison in the state of Florida. There used to be debtor's prison. For 1,000 years, there was debtor's prison. English common law, and we had it in America, too.
Good thing we got rid of that.
There is no more, there is no more debtor's prison. But if things go far enough, they can send a guy with a gun to your house. They can send the sheriff to your house and start taking your stuff. What happens is if you get sued and you lose, the court will enter a judgment. It's basically a piece of paper signed by the judge that says you owe the money. Now, with that judgment, there's 3 options that a creditor has: lien, levy, and garnishment. Lien is take your real property. Levy is take your movable property, cars, boats, airplanes. And garnishment is when they take your bank account or, you know, the money in your bank or your paychecks. There are, of course, I don't know how much time we have. Like I said, I could talk about this for years.
I'm getting a big wrap it up, but clearly there are some things that people can do if you've got this debt that you can't pay off. Consult an expert is the bottom line here. Consult an attorney. You think, oh, I can't pay attorney's fees either, but it could be worth it down the road if you can get the credit card company off of your back. Jim Giardina with the Consumer Rights Law Group joining us again today with some great advice. Kelly?
That was very good. All right. Thank you so much, guys.